Okay, how to keep your employees focused. So we get this question a lot, and I'll just tell you some of the things that we do here that help. One thing you got to realize that when they're not focused on the objectives that they're given to get done, that becomes a real problem because nothing gets done. You know, I can remember coming in and just like for a couple of weeks straight, we just weren't getting anything done. We were kind of all over the board, you know, and we had to take some time and back up and say, wait a minute, things just aren't getting done. Who is in charge of this? Who is in charge of that? And you find out nobody was in charge of anything. You know, half the time, if you're not direct with people and you don't make lists for people to do, they tend to ramble on to all kinds of different things and they never focus on the things that are important. So one of the things that we do is we'll use a whiteboard, you know, dry erase markers and such, and we'll make a list. And we'll say, okay, you know, this is our Friday meeting or our Monday meeting, and say, okay, perfect, better on a Monday, because then you can say, okay, this week specifically, these are the things, these are the items that we need to address this week. Let's say we need to work on Facebook marketing or pay-per-click marketing, or maybe the door hangers need to be ordered, or newsletters need to go out, or mass emails, or text messages, or whatever it might be. Okay, if we need to get door hangers made, I mean, there's all kinds of things that go on throughout the year. Okay, and you need to take each week and just separate those items out and have your meeting Monday morning. Then sit down and take your office person and say, okay, you know, Rachel, this is what I would like for you to do this week. It's A, B, C, and D. And then you can put that on a spreadsheet for her. You can put it on a dry eraser board, you know, whatever it takes. But let them know that you're going to come back and revisit this on Friday, okay? And you need to get these things off the list. And if you don't have them off the list on Friday, you need to be able to tell me why you couldn't get that done. Right? Why couldn't you get that done? All right, make sure you're clear with everybody on that. All right, so that'll help you get organized and that'll help them stay focused. Okay, that's just a couple of the things that we do. The other thing, very important, is to have weekly meetings, and I'll tell you why. I can remember just coming into the office like once a month, you know. And I come into the office and it's just chaos. Everything is everywhere. No one knows what right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing. And, you know, it just got monotonous. And so what we had to do was come up with different ways to focus with this. And the meetings that are held once a week are a great benefit. And the reason they are is because you don't just give it to an employee and say, look, here's the list, get all these things done. And then you come back in a month and you ask her if all those things are done, and half of them aren't even touched yet, right? So it gives you the opportunity to come and look at that and say, okay, if I gave Jennifer this list on Monday and say, look, I need these things done and accomplished because when I roll in here Friday, if they're not done, I need to know why they're not done. Okay, I need you to explain to me why that didn't get done. Did you have too much going on that you couldn't get to it? Were you out sick? Or was it just that you got calls out, you're in the process of it, you're waiting for calls to come back in, estimates, whatever. Okay, I get it, but you better have a reason. Now, week 2 rolls around and that's still on your plate, and I still come in and I look at that and it's still not done. We're going to talk about it again. And it's going to be like, hey, what's up? Can you not get this done? Do I need to give it to a different office person? I mean, what do I have to do to get this done, right? Eventually, you'll start seeing a pattern of where some of your employees just can't seem to get anything done, okay? While others just get done whatever you put on their plate. So it shows you, by having the weekly meetings, it really shows you the difference between your go-getters and the people that are slackers, okay? Bottom line, not going to sugarcoat it for you. So that being said, eliminating distractions is a big deal. With us, because we have so many different businesses going on, the phones are always ringing. There are distractions everywhere. I've gotten to the point where I've had to tell a couple of the people, like, look, you take your phone and shut it off while you're in the office, okay? Because the phones are going off all over the place, and a lot of them are private calls coming in. It's like, no, it's not okay. You can check your phone on your breaks. You can check your phone on your lunch hour. Check your phone before you go to work. Check your phone when you're done with work. You don't have to be on it 24/7. I don't think Donald Trump is trying to call you. You know what I mean? So sometimes you got to make that move. Just got to eliminate some of the distractions. I know a couple of our businesses are right next to each other, and there's people coming and going out of these businesses all the time, and excuse me, it gets to be a distraction, especially in the headquarters. When you got people coming and going out of there all the time, so it can be very distracting. So eliminate as many of those as you can. All right. Next thing, some things you'll find out is when a person gets overwhelmed. Like if there's so much on their plate and you have so many things that are expected of them to do that they just can't get any of them done because they're trying to do a little bit on each one of them. So if that's happening in your business, the only way you know that is to communicate. Here again comes that meeting on Monday. Or you revisit it on Friday and you're like, hey, what happened? Why didn't this get done? And they tell you, look, I answer the call. I take 35 calls a day. I can't get this stuff done right now. I need help. Okay, now that I know you need help, I can look around the board and I can find out who can lend some assistance here. How can we get some of these distractions done and taken care of? Because certainly we don't want to miss the phone calls, and that is a paramount priority in our business. And so we need to find ways to help them. Now, if you don't know that that's going on, and you don't know that that's a problem, okay, she may think in her own mind, hey, I know George is going to come in on Friday and he's going to bitch because all these things aren't done. Well, no, we're not going to, because we're going to address it. You're going to tell me what's going on and why they can't get done. And if it is because there's so many phone calls coming in that you just can't get anything done, I need to find help for you to help you be successful in your spot, okay? But if I don't know that's a problem, I can't help you, right? Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. All right, that being said, the compliment often feels good to employees, okay? The complimenting them, when you make your employees feel good about coming to work, they work well. If you have an employee that's disgruntled and they don't want to come into work, if they do, they have a bad attitude, they usually don't get anything done. They spend more of their time screwing around than anything. Try and give them a pat on the back, whenever you can. Make them feel good, make them feel appreciated. That goes a long way. All right. Communicating frequently. We touched on that a little bit. I would like to communicate daily with the office people, but I just can't do that, okay? And you probably can't either. If you're out in the field all the time, you just can't, okay? If you can make it in there for a weekly meeting, that's great. That's fantastic that you can be there for that, okay? Maybe take an hour, half an hour, whatever it takes. Those are vital that you do that in your organization with your people. It means a lot to them. It gives them a chance. Even like, say, lawn care guys, have a meeting with your lawn care crews and you bring them in and it's like, look, give them a Gatorade or water or whatever, and then tell them how much you appreciate them, and we really appreciate the effort you guys are making out there, and you're working hard, and I want you to know how much I really appreciate you guys. All right, just giving them a bottle of water or a couple bottles of water, whatever, for the day means a lot to them. You won't think that it does, but it really does. And it's well worth it, because they generally tend to work harder for a person that they like versus someone that they just don't give a shit about. If you're a prick of a boss, they don't care about you, then they're not going to work good for you, okay? And you're probably not going to keep them. But if they like you, they'll tend to stay with you longer, and they'll do a better job, all right? All right, revisit the work on the Fridays. I talked to you about that. Don't just hand out the directives. Don't just say, this is your list to get through this week. But try and find the 5 minutes or 10 minutes to get in there on Friday and look at it and say, guys, where are we at? How did we do? Where can we improve? Okay? And then once you find out that this one gets overwhelmed with phone calls, or this one's constantly being pulled in a 10 different directions, maybe you can start divvying up the work a little bit between everybody else to help out. But if you don't ask the right questions, you don't ask why isn't this being done, and you'll never receive that answer. Okay? If you just expect it to be done and they just ding through it and don't do it the way they're supposed to because they're afraid they're going to get yelled at, that doesn't help either, right? That's where the communication comes in. So vital to get there. Ask your questions. Figure out what's wrong and fix it, right? So, that being said, those are some of the things that we do to help with the organization and keeping our employees focused. If you like this video, subscribe, hit the like button on it. We appreciate it. Don't forget to hit the little bell so that you're sent a notification every time there's a new video produced. and because YouTube is not going to let you know. Thanks for watching.